And then Tito was a Christian of Greek origin, companion of the Apostle Paul, and one of the most important leaders of the beginning of the early church. He was probably also a son in Paul's faith, converted into one of his preaching. If we consider all references about Tito, we will realize that Paul placed a lot of confidence in his ministry. In the book of Acts of the Apostles, Tito is not quoted, but most likely at this time he was an active worker in the Lord's work. Titus is found in references in 2 Corinthians, Galatians, 2 Timothy, and Tito epistles. We can see that Tito was also instructed as a very dear disciple by the Apostle Paul. The apostle refers to Tito as a companion and cooperator. An interesting fact is that in Galatians chapter 2, verse 3, says that he accompanied Paul and Barnabas on a visit to Jerusalem. The goal was to discuss with the apostles and leaders of the church the controversy over Christian Gentiles in relation to the Mosaic law. Paul was completely against the idea that Gentile Christians were forced to go through circumcision and perform other Jewish rites. The case of Tito, who was kind, was an example of this discussion. Then the leadership of the church met in a council, and the arguments exposed by Paul were considered. With this, it was clear that the gospel should be freely preached to both Jews and Gentiles. In this case, Jewish regulations should not be imposed on Christians. Titus is mentioned 8 times in the second letter to the Corinthians. He was present at a complicated moment of that church. It is likely that Tito visited Corinth at least 3 times, and in 2 of them he has supervised the collection to help the poor brothers of Jerusalem. When Tito arrived in Corinth, the situation of the church was very difficult, especially for the immorality and discord that caused factions between its members. So he was sent to that church carrying a Paul's letter with recommendations and exhortations about these situations. The success of this mission was very satisfactory, leaving Paulo excited about the results obtained. Together with another brother in Christ, it was Titus who took Paul's second letter to the Corinthians. Paul took Tito to Crete, leaving him there to complete his work. He should organize the church on that island and designate the presbytery. Titus's ecclesiastical position in Crete was similar to that of Timothy in Ephesus. Unlike Timothy, who was a milder person, Tito probably had a stronger personality and imposed great leadership and firmness in his decisions. With these characteristics, he fits well with the position of working against the paganism of the inhabitants of the city of Crete and establishing sound doctrine in the Christian community of that city. He was also responsible for combating a possible beginning of Gnosticism there. Tito was summoned to find Paulo in Nicopolis after sending of Artemis and Tychicus. He was also assigned to ensure that nothing was missing to Apollo, another great preacher of the gospel of the time. It is possible that in Nicopolis, Tito was responsible for an evangelistic mission in Dalmatia, which he was performing when Paul wrote the epistle of 2 Timothy. He is believed to have returned to Crete and remained there as a bishop of the church until a well-advanced age. We can score the biblical information about Tito as follows. Tito was possibly converted into one of Paul's preaching. He was a reliable worker of Paul and was a great companion to him. He had a strong personality, leadership skills, and was firm and decided. Some scholars believe that he was Lucas's brother, but there is no concrete evidence about it. The Apostle Paul wrote a letter with pastoral recommendations to assist him in his work in the city of Crete. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey at Path of Faith. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content like this.